Class, in this lecture video, this would be the first revision video for your batch, and in this revision video we'll be talking about golden rule and literal rule of interpretation. Along with this video, I've also shared PPT, assignment and notes are quite exhaustive and you have all the case laws. Just to remind you that I have already shared all the case laws and the notes in the class itself when I used to teach you. The revision video would be very beneficial for all those students who have taken my class, and even more beneficial for all those students who couldn't attend my class because of some reasons. They can obviously study from this video, and please get back to me if you find any difficulty either in my notes or PPT assignment or this video, or even if you are studying from any other source, you can ask me if you find any problem. Thank you. Now let us. Now, rules of interpretation basically means that when the court is interpreting, that is trying to derive a meaning of a case of a law which is in front of them. एक कोई law है जो जिसकी meaning कोर्ट को डिराइव करनी है, निकालनी है, तो कोर्ट के पास कई रूल्स ऑफ इंटरप्रिटेशन होते हैं, कई सारे रूल्स हैं कोर्ट के पास कि वो कौन सा रूल लगा के interpret कर सके law को, how they can interpret the law. Now there are majorly 4-5 types of law: literal rule, golden rule, mischief rule, harmonious construction. These are the four major types of law. In this video, I am talking about literal and golden rule. Literal rule basically means that when there's a law in front of the court doesn't have to read anything beyond that law. Whatever that law is giving the literal meaning as, the court has to interpret that meaning only, and then the court has to give the judgment. Now, if I go through these points, statute may itself provide a special meaning of a term, for a term which is usually to be found in the interpretation section. Technical words are to given their ordinary meaning. Words will not be inserted by implication. Words undergo shift in meaning in course of time. It should always be remembered that words acquire significance for their context. Now, the basic rationale behind literal rule of interpretation is that whatever the legislators wanted to impose on us, they have already imposed on us in the form of law which they have formulated on us. Now work the the lawmaking part is done by the legislative assembly, and the implementation part is done by the executive, and the check on the implementation is done by the judiciary. तीन ऑर्गन्स हो गई हमारे मॉन्टेस्क्यू ने यही थ्योरी दी थी सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर की, लेजिस्लेचर, executive, and then the legislature, judiciary, and then the executive. Now the law has been written by one organ, that is legislature, and has to be interpreted by the other organ, that is judiciary. For example, if you go through my notes in my handwriting, notes have been written by me, but you have to understand and apply those notes in the examination. Wouldn't be a little difficult for you to understand my writing? Yes, it would be, because it has been written by me, but it has to be applied by you. So this is a major problem why the need of interpretation comes in case of interpreting a law by the judiciary. The laws have been made by the legislature, but it has to be applied and applied by the judiciary on the people. And when the judiciary applies those law or checks on the application of those law, whether it has been applied in a proper sense or not, then sometimes judiciary cannot understand the intention of the legislature, obviously because the laws have been written by someone else and has to be applied by or interpreted by judiciary. Then the need of interpretation comes. The judiciary has to understand the intention of the legislature. So to understand the intention of the legislature, the first rule which comes into picture is literal rule. The basic rationale of literal rule is whatever the intent of legislature was, legislature का जो भी intention था वो उन्होंने लिख दिया है लॉ के तरीके से. In the form of law, they have written all the intention which they had, whatever they wanted to implement on the people, they have written that. Now it is the rule of the judiciary to just apply those law as it is, because judiciary cannot change the law. because law making is not the direct action or direct work of the judiciary, and no organ can transgress the power of the other organ. The power with the lawmaking is given to the legislature. Okay, so literal rule of interpretation means when you apply the law as it is, whatever it is given, when you apply it as it is. Okay, deriving the literal meaning. Literal means जो भी उसका शाब्दिक अर्थ होता है, जो भी उसकी मीनिंग होती है. Now, the main advantages of literal rule is no scope for the judge's own opinion or prejudices, respect parliamentary supremacy, and encourage drafting precision, promotes certainty, and reduces litigation. These are the main merits of literal rule of interpretation, that it respects parliament supremacy, that parliament is supreme in lawmaking. Lawmaking is the work of the parliament, so judges are just interpreting it as it is, and they are not reading between the lines, or they are not adding anything to the law which has been made by the legislature. It encourages drafting, and there is no scope of judge to give his opinion, so the discretionary power of the judge is quite limited. What can be the criticism? The criticism is basically one thing, that sometimes while the judge, they are giving the words their literal meaning, sometimes the justice is denied. Sometimes plain meaning of the word doesn't give the justice in true sense. So when the justice is not given in true sense, then the rule comes into existence, that is golden rule of interpretation. So the limit, when the literal rule is not able to deliver justice, then golden rule of interpretation, that is the second rule of interpretation which we are studying by this video, can be applied. Excuse me. Now, what is golden rule of interpretation? Golden rule of interpretation basically means that when there are two or more words with, sorry, there is a word or there is a statutory provision which is giving two or more meaning. कोई एक word है एक section का, या कोई एक section है पूरा जो एक से ज्यादा meaning दे रहा हो, तो उसका हम क्या करेंगे, कौन सी मीनिंग लेंगे. सो गोल्डन रूल सेज दैट whatever meaning gives justice, deliver justice, that meaning should be taken into consideration, and that meaning should be given effect. तो अगर कोई वर्ड है जिसकी एक से ज्यादा मीनिंग निकल के आती है, तो जो वर्ड जो मीनिंग डिलीवर करे जस्टिस, वो मीनिंग आपको यूज करनी है, जजेस को यूज करनी है, जजेस को इंटरप्रेट करनी है. I hope this lecture is clear to you. If you don't understand anything, you can kindly get back to me. Thank you, class.